red button? Yeah, push the little red button.
Welcome to Netpicks Podcast Episode 9. They call me the Captain, and they call him the Podcast Machine, Mike Larkin. Good morning, Mike.
Good. They do call me that. Well, you know, you've called me that for friggin' 6 years, man.
I've called you many things.
Oh, jeez. Well, a lot of them were good things, absolutely. But yes, no. I've been called a lot of things in my life, too. But that is still one that always is very near and dear to my heart. But yeah, no, we're here, man. It's Netpicks. We're already at episode 9. How crazy is that, man? We've gone through a lot of great films.
You say already. I mean, it's taken us 7 months to get from episode 8 to episode 9.
Okay, well, still, you know, life does happen, so, you know, it's all right. People understand.
It does. And obviously we've watched a lot of movies since then. So, man, going all the way back to June, the topic we were given by the mystery wheel in the last episode was movies we've never seen before. So, obviously, we've both picked 2 movies that we've never seen before. That we've watched in the last 7 months. So obviously, disclaimer before we begin, every movie has to be at least a year old in the interest of professionalism on my part. Alright, before we begin, before we open the curtains, let's kick things off with 5 films or less. We're each going to pick an actor or actress from one of our chosen movies, and by the end of the show, I will try to connect them in 5 films or less. So pick an actor or an actress from one of your 2 movies today. Who we got?
Well, I'll be honest with you. One of my films is it's an old one from the 80s, and one of the old ones is from the 2000s. So you ready for this?
Okay.
William Zabka is one. William Zabka, the one and only William Zabka. And the other one is, you know what? This is an all-star cast in the other one. So, all right, let's go with Kirsten Stewart.
Oh, damn. Okay. Wait, what the hell was she in the 80s?
No, this one is from the 2000s.
Okay.
Kirsten Stewart's the 2000s.
Well, I think we've done William Zabka before. So let's go with Kristen Stewart. And
okay.
Luckily, one of mine is like an all-star cast too, so I'll try and connect her to... Let's go with Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Oscar-winning actor. Gotta be in a lot of things. Alright, so, what's your first movie?
All right, it is a 1985 film directed by Lisa Gottlieb, and it stars, are you ready for this? Joyce Heiser, Clayton Rauner, Billy Jacoby, Tony Hudson, and William Zabka. It is the 1985 classic Just One of the Guys, which is a loose adaptation of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. Now, one that we actually did see in the mid-2000s like that was when we had She's the Man, which starred Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum at the time. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, they're both the same.
Yeah, well, still. So Just One of the Guys was a film where Joyce Heiser is this journalist student, right? She gets her article rejected because, you know, it's not, you know, she doesn't have that oomph to it, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, well, if I was a guy, it would have been better. And you know what I'm saying? They probably would have, you know, they would have just had it. They would have done it. They would have used it. So what she does is she goes under disguise and she dresses like a guy, wears a lot of her brother's clothes. And Billy Jacoby plays the brother in this, Buddy Griffith. The perfect description of this, he's a 15-year-old horny as a motherfucker, man. To put it bluntly, horny as a motherfucker. She goes, don't you even feel embarrassed? She's like, horny he goes, horny outweighs embarrassment at any time. And I'm going, attaboy. Because that's how it is. When you're a teenager, horniness outweighs everything, including embarrassment, right? So what she does is she dresses like him, you know, with the clothes and style. She has a short haircut, and I'll say it to you right now, Desirino, Ralph Macchio. She legit looks like Ralph Macchio, and it's absolutely hilarious haircut. I felt like I was doing it for Johnny this entire movie. You know what I'm saying? It's outsiders haircut Ralph Macchio style. So Joyce Heiser dressing like a guy, right? So what she does is she goes to the school. She's putting the article. She's using, oh my goodness, the guy, Clayton Rauner as Rick Morehouse. So Rick Morehouse is this kid. It's gone from every school, right? He's a nerdy. And she helps him kind of find that cool, use him like a guinea pig, what it's like to be a guy. So she's with Buddy, her brother, right? So to be a guy, he helps her. So what he does is it's the infamous scene. It's like, you got to get really deep in there. You got to get really deep in there. Trying to like scratch the balls like guys do. And she goes, well, maybe my balls don't itch. And the infamous line is, all balls itch. It's a fact. So you have him trying to teach her how to be a guy, and it's hilarious. So, and she has this boyfriend who's that was in college, right? That's really not at the same time, this is why he likes her, because she's beautiful and yada yada yada, but she does not want to be seen as just a pretty face. So she's very serious. She's acting like a guy. William Zabka is the bully at this school. Friggin' tosses him into the bushes. Is a fucking tool shed. It's William Zabka. Think of Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Think of The Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio. This is William Zabka at his dickiness. You already know what I'm saying? Pure 80s dickiness. If you know what I'm saying, So he's the absolute bully. She's looking at him while giving him the towels, and he goes, what are you looking at? She goes, nothing much. So it's one of those things where she does anything to get out of being in gym class, so she doesn't have to wear the shirts and skins when they're playing basketball, not having to change in front of the guys, also helping this guy Rick Morehouse because he's nerdy when getting involved with them. But what she does is she winds up falling for him, while also having this douchey boyfriend that she, that's in college and whatnot. So it all leads to the prom, right? It's at this surf bar. It's by the beach. It's awesome. It's a good time for everybody, right? It leads to the climax. So what happens is the infamous line once more. We're at the prom. She's with Rick, and they're all having a good time. And then he pulls Rick to the side, and she tells him how she's in love with him and that she's a girl. And he goes, yeah, right. The infamous scene opens it up. And he goes, wait, are those? And he goes, yeah. She goes, yeah, I'm a girl. And he goes, where do you get off having tits? So it's that infamous line of, where do you get off having tits? You know what I'm saying? He's confused. What's going on here? I thought you were a dude. So then it leads to the ending where they're in the car. They got the beautiful car. Buddy, who's been wanting to have sex the entire time, finally has sex. You know what I'm saying? It's the most wonderful thing. He's 15 years old. Bada bing, bada boom. The bloom is off the rose, that delicate virgin flower. So also what we see here is, Rick's talking to her, has that interest into her. They wind up dating. It's a beautiful thing. We have a happy ending. We also learn that, hey, guys and girls, we have similar things as well. It's tough to be a girl. It's tough to be a guy. But at the end of the day, we all got to see each one as equals in one. But it makes for a hell of an entertaining and a funny-ass movie. Just One of the Guys, a 1985 classic.
People say, where do you get off having tits to me all the time.
Dude, it's one of the funniest movies. There's classic one-liners, and it's like, he's talking like, hey, shithead, hey, butthead, or whatever he's on the phone with. You know what I'm saying? They're going back and forth with insults, and then you know what he does? He looks at the sister and he goes, Mom says hi. Just the most random thing. They're calling each other names and shitheads and this, and he goes, Mom says hi. And it's just, it's hilarious. It's very random, but it's funny. So it gets to showcase the 80s teenage movies, the bully going into schools, what it's like to be a guy versus how it is as a girl, and then her article gets published, and it's a fun little movie, you know what I'm saying? It's an 85 movie, one of William Zabka's most underrated dickiness, you know what I'm saying? And we have Joyce Heiser, who's in it as well, who I forgot what Joyce Heiser was in as well. I know she was in LA Law, but I remember she was in one show that I did see, and I just have to confirm what the hell that was because it was bugging me. Hold on. Oh yeah, she was in Melrose Place for a little bit, and Murder, She Wrote. Okay, so she's done a couple movies like that, but yeah, this was her breakout role because I remember seeing the face when I saw it. I'm like, all right, baby, because she is a very attractive woman. But once you turn to that guy, I just felt like I was looking at mini Ralph Macchio over here. So it was an interesting time, and it was an interesting movie to really sink your teeth into. It's probably one of those ones. I remember back in the day where you're looking for a late movie at night. This was one of those films.
Well, all right then. Yeah, I've heard the name of it. Did you say it was remade by Amanda Bynes, or she made a loose version of it?
So the loose adaptation is of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, is what the movie is really has a loose adaptation of it. But also, She's the Man is very similar to Twelfth Night. That was with Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum.
Yeah, I recognize that one.
Oh, I had to watch that in my senior year of high school. And here's the funny part about that. This will take you back to the 80s. So my senior year in high school, my English teacher was Mr. Hayes, right? And he legit sounded like Ben Stein and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller. He had that voice. So there's another.
All right, so what year was that one?
1985.
All right, so we're in the same decade, but we're going a couple of years ahead now for my first one. It's a 1989 movie, so it came out the year I was born, and I didn't see it until this year. There's some pretty famous names in it. There's Sally Field, Tom Skerritt, Dylan McDermott. There is Shirley MacLaine, the incomparable Dolly Parton. Is it ringing any bells?
9 to 5?
No.
Oh.
I'm sure most people probably think that's the only thing she's appeared in, but no, she was in another movie.
Okay.
Directed by Herbert Ross. Now, apparently, he was very, very difficult to work with, and constantly criticized the actress's acting abilities to the point where a very young starlet in the movie named Julia Roberts was in tears. So Julia Roberts was accused of being a bad actress while working on this.
What?
The movie is Steel Magnolias.
Oh, the timeless classic. I forgot Dolly Parton was even in Steel Magnolias, and that's a classic movie.
Right.
Okay? Oh my God! All right, now that you say that, now that makes sense. Okay.
So I mean, I knew nothing about it. I thought it looked like this because it was on Netflix. So when you hover over something, it plays a little clip. So I watched the clip, and I thought, yeah, okay, it's Suicide, like an all-female led cast, and it just looks like a good old country movie about all these women, just talking shit as they do, and one of them's getting married. Cool, it's gonna be a nice little comedy. It's fucking soul destroying.
You want to cry? How did you cry, Des? Did you cry?
I'm a robot, but I got upset. I'll say that much.
This man goes, I'm a robot, but I got upset. How do you really feel, Des?
It starts off as a pretty feel-good comedy, but like halfway through, it just hits you like a freight train. It goes from literally nice feel-good movie to soul-destroying, just gut-wrenching, rip your heart out kind of movie. I don't really want to say too much without spoiling it because I was shocked by the plot twist like halfway through. But I will say, when I said Herbert Ross, the director, criticized a lot of the acting, then you bring in powerhouse Sally Field, who just proves everybody wrong, and she performs this incredibly emotional scene in a cemetery. Hopefully that doesn't spoil too much at the end of the movie. And apparently she did the whole thing in one take.
Wow.
And how she didn't win an Oscar for it or anything, I don't know. It was nominated for one Oscar, which was Best Supporting Actress for Julia Roberts, but Sally Field got nothing. Actually, she was nominated for a Golden Globe, but she didn't get that either. That actually went to Julia Roberts.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like with Sally Field, it's like when friggin' Susan Lucci finally won that award. You know what I'm saying? Like she was robbed of a lot of awards because Sally Field should have won a lot more awards than she did. Because she's just, again, for me, it was Forrest Gump when I'm dying Forrest and everything that she did in Forrest Gump, just in every movie. Because Sally Field is the epitome of the actresses, man. It's like when you know what I'm saying. You root for her all over those years, and then when Susan Lucci, like I mentioned, finally won that award. The You Like Me, You Really Like Me with Sally Field. I can't believe I won this. It's like that. It's that moment of you like me, you really like me, and then you finally did it. You know what I'm saying? It's when the hero finally gets the win, and it's awesome.
Yeah, she absolutely deserved a hell of a lot more than she's got. I tell you, I mean, I think it's safe for No Way Home spoilers now. There is a major death in it. And it was a character that was once played by Sally Field. If she'd have died when she played that role, jeez.
You see, all right, so I go from the funny movie, and then, first of all, you didn't even realize, all right, so obviously I've never seen Steel Magnolias as well. I will put this out there. But now that you brought the adaptation, not as much spoilers as I did, because it's like, it's very typical, but also at the same time, it's like, okay, it's women, here's what it's going to be. You don't really realize how emotional, like, it really is. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't really realize how much it hits you, like, right in the corazon, Desirino.
No. So basically the plot is a young beautician, played by Julia Roberts. I believe it was like one of her first roles. She was like 19, I think, when she made this. Newly arrived in a small Louisiana town, finds work at a local beauty salon, where a group of women share a very close bond of friendship, and she's kind of like the young pup of the group. Dolly Parton's actually very, very good in this. Like, I haven't seen her act at all, really.
Okay, so I got to bring this up because you mentioned Dolly Parton acting. The only other time I remember seeing her act, because you know what Disney show she was in for like a very small period.
She was related to Hannah Montana, right?
Yes, and I mean you know about Hannah Montana. You love you some Miley Cyrus, ain't that right, Desert?
Yeah. I got all the posters, all the DVDs. Yeah.
You know you're party in the USA. Don't act like.
Shirley MacLaine also. She pretty much plays the bitchy, nosy neighbor in this by the name of what the fuck? I can't even remember how they pronounce her first name. It's like Weezer Bordeaux.
Weezer Bordeaux.
She basically she just walks her dog every day, and nobody wants to talk to her because she's just very, very bitchy. And I believe she's kind of famous for playing roles like that.
Well, again, you can also look at it from a stance where a lot of them are typecasted as a certain role, hence Williams being the absolute douchiest of the douches in all the 80s movies. But, when you have that certain role, and a lot of people say that you can get out of it, some can't. Like, for me, remember when, how in the 90s, and we've seen Jim Carrey's movies, it's always comedy, it's always funny, it's over the top. Like, when he did the number 23 in 2007, I was just like, all right, let's see how this is, because it's Jim Carrey trying to be serious and very dark and mysterious, and I'm like, yeah, can we just go back to The Mask and Ace Ventura and all those movies, because it didn't work at all. That would probably be.
Yeah, I think he kind of peaked with Bruce Almighty.
It's my jam.
And after that, it was just stuff like Mr. Popper's Penguins and Fun with Dick and Jane. What happened to Jim Carrey? And then they did the Dumb and Dumber sequel, which was
Yeah, they should have just left it alone. But I will say one thing about Bruce Almighty. You know what that is?
What?
Bruce Nolan for Eyewitness News. Back to you, fuckers. PP. Yep. Oh.
So yeah, I went into this not knowing what to expect. I was hit with two different genres in the same movie and completely blindsided by the switch in genre halfway through. And I honestly, so let me take a look at some of the trivia. Meg Ryan was initially under contract to play Julia Roberts' character, but of course the producers let her out because the same year she was in the equally, probably more famous actually, When Harry Met Sally.
Okay, now if I'm Meg Ryan, would I want to do this movie, or what I do want to do, I'll have what she's having? I'm just saying, because When Harry Met Sally was the shiznit.
I mean, it's only really famous for that very risque scene.
Hey, all right, I'm going to put you on the spot, since we not only are pop culture nerds, Desirino, we are also wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, or Kurt Angle and Christy Hemme?
Oh, damn.
WrestleMania 21, bro.
Wait, didn't they do a parody with Linda McMahon too?
Linda McMahon was the older woman.
Yes, she was the one. I'll have what she's having. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll take Kurt Angle.
Don't forget. And then there's the Angle Slam. And then there's the Ankle Lock. I can put it in 3 times in a row. Kurt was great.
Here's a little quote, which I'm sure when you hear it, we'll think, yeah, that's exactly Dolly Parton. So when, after a poor take, Herbert Ross, the director, kind of took Dolly Parton to one side and asked her if she could act. Her response was, and let me try and do my best Dolly Parton here. No, but hold on. No, but it's your job to make me look like I can.
Yes,
that's Dolly Parton.
That is Dolly Parton. Oh God.
Also, I mean, Julia Roberts, I think I said she was like 19 when she made this. Her character was 22. The producers thought people wouldn't believe Sally Field would be old enough to be her mother.
What? Okay, so looking around Sally Field around this particular time period, how can people not believe that? I know she was still relatively young, but I mean, still, come on. I mean, we could actually see a passing for that because she really didn't. You didn't see her, get more mature once we got into the '90s. So she was still, huh?
Well, she's 75 now. I didn't know that.
Holy hell!
She was 43. So
that could pass.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fucking 43 years old. Like, come on. So the Fountain of Youth over there with Sally Field. Good lord.
Yeah, let me just confirm on Julia Roberts in 1989.
Okay, well, first and foremost, this is 1989. 1999 would proceed to one of my favorite movies of Julia Roberts, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Pretty Woman, man.
Yeah. Oh, she was 22, right? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Which I believe came pretty much right after this. Like, I think she went straight from this to making Pretty Woman.
Yep, I'm the king of wishful thinking. Yep.
Yeah, there's the bit that really shocked me when I read about it was the director criticizing him, because there's a lot of very powerful actresses in this movie.
It's directors, man. Everybody's a critic, man. It's Hollywood, and people got to have their say and whatnot. People direct differently than other directors, so to speak, and actors. They want their vision. They want their artiste. You know what I'm saying? Some people know how to paint that canvas. Some want to paint it entirely different. You know what I'm saying? But once you have that work of art and you paint that canvas and everything flows and goes into fluidity, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And a little bit more trivia. So right before, there's a big cemetery scene at the end, and like I mentioned, it's Sally Field's like big scene where she just acts her ass off. Apparently right before the scene, which she did in one take again, by the way, right before the scene, she screamed into a pillow for hours so that her voice would be raw and more evocative for the scene.
That's great strategy, and that is the work of an absolute actress right there. I like that.
People, this is a Sally Field appreciation episode for me.
Yep, that's commitment. That, if you want to talk about commitment, that right there is commitment.
So there we go. Oh yeah, and there's also a great line. So it's this incredibly sad scene, very powerful acting from Sally Field, and it's supposed to be this really sad scene. And then, as just like everybody's crying, they decide to just change the mood very, very quickly, with Shirley MacLaine's character Weezer just going up to Sally Field's character and going, "If it makes you feel better, you can punch me in the face."
Okay. That is a change indeed.
But yeah, I'm not going to say too much about the plot. And I will let people who have never seen it before, just like me, enjoy it the way I did, because that is the best way to enjoy movies for the first time, seeing them without knowing anything that's going to happen. Very much like I did with the recently released No Way Home. It was very much more appreciated when you didn't know what was going to happen. So,
hey, this is the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy.
Hey, this is Tommy Dreamer.
It's the Ultimate Vanessa, your girl's favorite wrestler. Hey, yo, what up? It's Darby Allin.
This is the voice of Killer Cross.
It's the interview queen, Alicia Atute here.
You are watching
Max Wrestling Podcast.
You are currently listening to the Max Wrestling Podcast.
We're going to take it to the max.
We're about to take it to the max.
And we're about to take it to the max.
It's time to take it to the max.
Welcome to the Madhouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Madhouse.
What's the second movie that you've never seen before?
All right, so wait, are you ready for this cast? Kristen Stewart, Michael Angarano, Eric Lively, Elizabeth Perkins, Hallie Hirsch, Steve Zahn, D.B. Sweeney, Leslie Lyles, Robert John Burke, and it is the 2004 film directed by Jessica Scharzer. And this is actually, we're coming upon the anniversary of this film because it was released on January 20th, 2004. And as it stars, like I mentioned, a young Kristen Stewart. Now, this is before Twilight, Desirino. Oh, yeah. And it's based off a book that I read in high school by Laurie Hulse Anderson, Speak. The name of the movie is Speak, and the name of the book is Beak. So here's a funny story I have. So it was 9th grade. I was in Miss Amat's English class, right? East Islip High School. This was probably 8th period, because 9th period was the last period of the day before we all went home at 2:05 p.m. So it's one of those things where I'm going to say also, this was the same class, and just a little funny story here. It might be a little TMI, but we all have that. So Desirino, I had a project due this day, right? And, I had me a little bit of stomach ache. You know what I'm saying? So literally, as sometimes when things suck in life, a common phrase, a common saying, if you will, is sometimes you shit the bed. Sometimes it sucks. And I literally shit the bed, man. And I could not go into English class, man, because, drizzling shits, you know what I'm saying? Shit the bed. Bada boom, bada bing. It happens. So what I will say as well, this particular day, we started reading Speak. And Speak was about, like we talk with the movie here, it's a very serious role for Kristen Stewart. This was before the Twilights, like we mentioned, but it's about a young girl who unfortunately gets raped at a party. She gets called a squealer because she called the cops on this party and stated that she has been raped and everything into fruition. It is a whole to-do, if you will. And now, mind you, when you're going through such trauma, and a lot of people can say, not just with rape, but just in trauma in general, you don't want to talk, hence speak. You're very awkward. You don't know what to say. You're just very, you're in your own way. You're in your bubble. You're just not well, you know what I'm saying? Everything up in here is not what it should be, and it's very heartbreaking to see someone unravel. So here's what happens, She has a friend who was played by Hallie Hirsch. Do you know who Hallie Hirsch was?
Hallie Hirsch. Name rings a bell. No.
Okay. So for me, in the late 90s, early 2000s, she was in The Ultimate Christmas Present, which was a Disney Channel original movie. She was in this as the best friend, a more serious role. Like, they kind of drift apart, you know what I'm saying? And then you have, I'm going to say this right now, it's like with any movie. This bitch that's in here, the girl who plays Heather Billings, her name is Alison Silko, right? She becomes her friend, but once the popular girls come around, she ditches her. She drops her like a bad habit, like we've all seen in high school and in life. Friends just drop you like a bad habit. They say bye. They say, fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Move over to the popular girls, like it's fucking Mean Girls, Desirino. So she gets dropped by this friggin' newbie, and everything is just unraveling. Michael Angarano plays David Petrakis, right? He becomes her friend, you know what I'm saying? They become bonded in a science room and science lab and everything, they become friends. Do you know who Michael Angarano is, Dazzy Dangerously?
No.
He was in the Disney Channel original movie Sky High along with Kurt Russell and, God rest her soul, Kelly Preston. You know what I'm saying? He was the superhero kid. He was Will Stronghold. But before he was a superhero, he was the best friend to Kristen Stewart in Speak, right? So Eric Lively plays the guy who is Andy Evans. Now, Andy Evans is the guy that did the deed, unfortunately, and raped her at the party. He won't say anything, and for those who don't know who Eric Lively is, he was in a Pink music video. I believe it was for Please Don't Let Me Go, or one of the Pink songs that she had back in the day. She was in Mandy Moore's Walk Me Home video. He was on Disney Channel's So Weird, which starred Mackenzie Phillips, Patrick Levis, Eric Von Detten, and Alex Johnson. He was in a lot of stuff around this time. He was in American Pie. He plays the douchest of the douches in this movie, right? You have Steve Zahn, who plays the art teacher, Mr. Freeman, who she gets along with, really, truly understands Melinda Sardino. She likes him. Steve Zahn in a serious role. We're not talking about Saving Silverman. We're not talking about anything from, like, Stuart Little or anything of that junction. This is Steve Zahn at his seriousness, but very unique and creative as an art teacher, as many art teachers were. So it's one of those things where it's just like we get to see so many people blossom and really just transition and transmogrify into different characters, right? So the movie also entails the fact that she won't say anything. The mother, who is played by Elizabeth Perkins, I'm talking about Big, and I'm talking about Tom Hanks, you lucky son of a gun, being in that movie with Elizabeth Perkins. Oh my God, who didn't want to make out with her? Who didn't want to jump on the trampoline and start singing Send Me Forget-Me-Nots by Patrice Rushen? Dazzy Dangerously, what a time to be alive. So we see that encompassed with Speak. She's in a more serious role. And it's pretty much its awkwardness, but at the end of the day, she tells everybody finally. No one will believe her. Hallie Hirsch, her former best friend, won't believe her because she is now dating Andy Evans. She's trying to warn her, like, hey, He did this to me. He's going to do the same thing to you. And Hallie Hirsch, her character, Rachel, her former best friend, she found out very quickly what Eric Lively was about. He was about to do it all about. That's what it's all about. But ain't the hokey pokey. This is serious, Dazzy Dangerously. So what happens is he corners her, right? And then he pretty much says, like, hey, you know what? How about don't say this. Let's say it's a lie. How about we keep this on the hush? Keep it on the DL. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, we're not going to talk about this. So what happens is the girl that she plays with on the field hockey team, right? She befriends. They feel that she's kind of awkward, but no, she starts to open up, and then they start to realize as he corners her, like, yo, he's doing this because they catch him. They do the deed. She finally winds up opening up to Elizabeth Perkins, her mother. And that's the thing at the end of the day. If you have trauma, whatever you're going through, everyone can say this. I can attest. You can attest. We can all attest, people who listen to this show, that when we go through stuff, whether it's traumatic, what have you, it may be tough to open up. But when you finally open up, it's very warming. It's very, open. Like we mentioned, it's very open and it's very free. And you feel relieved knowing that you get to talk and finally speak, as the book and the movie so appropriately titled, and just get it out there. So it's one of those ones where it's very serious. It's very meaningful. It's something that you could take away from whatever you're going through. And it's really something that, like I said, from the book to the movie adaptation, very similar. And I think everyone who did their part in this was a good job. And plus, if you don't want to see Kristen Stewart and one glowing vampires, this is your movie.
Oh, she acts in this one.
Yes, she acts.
You know what? I will kind of defend her. I thought she was great in Underwater, which was released last year.
That was a good movie. I will put the stamp on approval to that as well.
I kind of want to see a little bit more of Cthulhu, but it was a good movie. And Steve Zahn, who was in this, one of my favorite underrated actors. Love Steve Zahn in everything I've seen him in.
He's funny. He's so good. He never plays a bad role. He's funny, man. He's very entertaining. Like I said, Saving Silverman that he was in was one of my favorite movies that he was in with Jason Biggs and Jack Black, because it was just funny. Coming at yeah! And they're doing the friggin' Neil Diamond tribute band. She got the way to move me, cherry baby, and they're wearing the wigs. Oh, ba 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 da ba ba.
And even his voice and motion cap was great in War for the Planet of the Apes. He was Bad Ape. Bad Ape.
Yes.
Everybody loved Bad Ape.
I did too.
Yeah, you know what? I may have to check that one out. Honestly, when she gets the chance, she can act.
Yes.
I think Twilight did a lot of damage to her reputation as an actress, as well as Robert Pattinson's reputation as an actor. I've seen him act in so many good movies since Twilight. But even now, he's going to be the new Batman, and some people don't want to give him a chance because he was the sparkly vampire.
Yeah, and I think, like you were talking about going back to her acting, I think, with this film, like, again, in the rape situations, like, when you lose your innocence, and I think a lot of people can attest to that, like, you lose your innocence, you don't know who you are, and she really encompassed, like, and I'll say this, as I was reading the book as a 15-year-old in ninth grade, man, it's one of those things where it's just like, as you're reading and you're flipping the pages and you're visualizing what you're reading and you're taking it in and absorbing that knowledge. Also, then you see the film adaptation. It's just like, man, like, this is exactly like how this character would act. Here's a little nuances. Also, she liked to, like, lay in hospital beds, which I thought was kind of weird. I don't know why that was, like, a thing. I still never understood that to this day. Because there's a scene where she goes to the hospital, or she knew someone in the hospital, and she just lays in hospital beds. For some reason, it's comforting going to the hospital. I'll never understand it, but okay. But that was, like, one of the weird little notions that I took from that movie as well, laying in hospital beds.
Yeah. There was a very similar miniseries on Netflix a couple of years ago, which pretty much about the same thing, which replaced the Kristen Stewart character with a character played by Caitlin Dever, who has gone on to win numerous awards. But the series also starred one of my favorite actresses, Toni Collette, and Merritt Weaver, who pretty much were the only two that believed the girl. But all along, it doesn't actually confirm whether she's telling the truth or not until right at the end.
Like I said, it's the art of a beautiful movie, my friend.
Yes. All right then. So that just leaves one left for me. And again, it's pretty far back. Well, for some people anyway. I was alive when this one was made. So this is from 1996. reserve your judgment when I say it was directed by Joel Schumacher.
Oh.
But honestly, it's so good. It's based on a novel. This one by John Grisham. And just, you mentioned an all-star cast. Let me reel off the names on this one. So I said we got Matthew McConaughey. We got Sandra Bullock. We got Samuel L. Jackson. We got Kevin Spacey, who we probably shouldn't talk about. We got Oliver Platt. We've got Donald and Kiefer Sutherland. We've got the debut of Octavia Spencer. Just a hell of a cast. The movie is called A Time to Kill, and it's very, very on the nose and very controversial. So it's basically set in Canton, Mississippi, where Samuel L. Jackson's daughter is attacked and raped by these two reckless, rowdy, not giving two shits, sorry for the term, rednecks. Literally at the start of the movie, they just drive through this town, throwing bottles at everybody and stuff, just causing mayhem. And then, of course, they happen upon Samuel L. Jackson's 10-year-old daughter. So they are arrested. They're arrested very quickly and found guilty. And Samuel L. Jackson goes to a lawyer friend of his, played by Matthew McConaughey. They have a connection. They have a past. Matthew McConaughey defended his brother, I believe, if I remember correctly. And he warns him, I'm going to kill these guys because they're not going to get, there's going to be no justice in locking them up. And, he just kind of takes it on the chin. It's like, yeah, he's just angry and upset. He's not really going to do anything stupid. But, of course, very, very quickly into the movie, the two guys are being led through court. Samuel L. Jackson comes out of nowhere with an assault rifle, guns down the two guys, also accidentally shoots one of the cops in the leg. So the whole thing goes to trial now about wrongful or rightful killing. So pretty much the whole movie is about a court case, and it's about, it very quickly turns into a race war, and the KKK are involved. I really didn't like seeing Kiefer Sutherland in a white hood because I love Kiefer Sutherland. All
right, we got to talk about this. So my images of Kiefer Sutherland would be Lost Boys as a vampire.
Yes.
And friggin' 24, or friggin' The Nut in Phone Booth with friggin' Colin Farrell. I will take any of those with Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, I don't need to see him in a KKK.
Yeah.
No.
But he was very good in the role. So basically, he is a brother of one of the two guys that was killed. Mm-hmm. One of the brothers that raped the little girl. And, he clearly is just as bad as his brother because all he wants is revenge, and he incites all these KKK riots. So eventually the whole court case basically is very, very racially motivated, and it very much becomes a case of black and white, and how things would have been different if Samuel L. Jackson was white. And, Matthew McConaughey comes under fire from the KKK because he's a white guy defending a black guy in a murder case, and it's so powerful.
You know what that reminds me of? Remember Atticus Finch, To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Very much another awesome movie that I've seen countless times. Again, based on a classic novel. And I just couldn't help wondering, watching this movie now, like, this was in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like this still happens. It's still very much relevant in 2022.
First off, I will say this: 1996, I was 4. So, I mean, all right. So, yes, it does, and unfortunately, it still does happen in the year 2022. You would think after years of evolution and really just overall just seeing our mindsets and stuff and trying to be less judgmental, unfortunately, stuff still like this does happen with so many different groups, so many different power and allies. It's sad to see, but unfortunately, that's the way of the world, and that's what this generation have to endure too as well, like what we had to.
Yeah. So I mentioned Kiefer and Donald Sutherland were both in this, but they are in no scenes together and they have no connection. It's weird seeing them both in the same movie because I don't think I've ever seen them together on screen.
That's odd. And the reason why I say this is, well, comparison 2001 when I saw The New Guy, right, with Zoe Deschanel and DJ Qualls, Charlie and Jerry O'Donnell were both in it. You know what I'm saying? Or Jerry O'Connell and Charlie O'Connell, excuse me. And, like, they were the two, like, you know what I'm saying, like, roided up kind of like muscle heads at the party. And they're just acting like a fool. So it was funny to see the two brothers there. But that's nuts to think that Donald and Kiefer Sutherland, two legendary brother actors in their own right, where it's just like they're not even in the same scene. It's just kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're not in the same scene. They don't play characters that are related in any way. Upon inspection, they actually appeared in one other movie together when Kiefer was very young. This was in 1983, called Max Duggan Returns, which is a comedy drama, also directed by Herbert Ross, who directed Steel Magnolias. So there's a little connection for you people. Also, Sandra Bullock was one of the top billed actresses in this movie, but she has a very minimal role. When I say minimal, she actually does quite a lot with the case, but she doesn't actually speak. Although she appears in the first hour of the film, she doesn't actually speak until like half an hour into it.
Wow. Okay. That's something. I mean, when you have such a powerful actress like Sandra Bullock and you're not saying nothing until then, it's like, okay. And I mean, look at her around this time. She's also doing like Speed.
Oh, yeah.
And she's doing all these other movies, and it's just like, this is the prime peak of Sandra Bullock right here.
Yeah. There was some criticism for the movie over whether it condones murder or not under the right circumstances. And for pretty much that reason, Paul Newman actually turned down the role that was played by, I think it was Donald Sutherland.
Okay. All right. I mean, you see, it's one of those things like we talk about when they turn down roles, what could have been, like just to see that particular actor do that role. It makes you think too as well, because it's just like, all right, we're altered history. Like when we talk with Max on Max Wrestling, it's like with like what could have happened if so and so was in the match, or what if we wouldn't have went this way in that direction. See, you never know, but some things in a way are kind of like meant to happen for a reason. But it really does give you thinking, and it's just like, God dang, if they were in that role. So I totally feel you.
Yeah. And one little, I guess it was an Easter egg that I really liked. There was a psychiatrist that was questioned on the stand, played by Anthony Held, who also played the psychiatrist in the Hannibal Lecter films, Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon. And he was equally creepy in that too.
Baba beans, Daz, or you know, Baba beans.
Yeah. So this reunited Oliver Platt and Kiefer Sutherland, who also appeared together in Flatliners, which also starred Julia Roberts, another hell of a movie.
Yes.
So there we go. There was also some other recognizable names too. M. Emmett Walsh, who I always remember as the train driver in Wild Wild West.
Going to the Wild Wild West. Going to the Wild Wild West. Okay, we always have this defense, and I'm going to say it because this is like a popular topic with this show.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of bad reviews, and it really does. It gets voted as like one of the worst movies of all time, but it has its moments. I know you love it, but I'll say this as someone who's seen it. I love it because it's Will Smith and fucking Cisco and Drew Hill. The Wild Wild West. Like, you know what I'm saying? But still, like, for me, it has its moments, but I could, it's not my favorite Will Smith movie. I know you love it to death. As long as I have known you, you will always take that trip down to the Wild West.
You know, I always wanted that train with all the little gadgets on it. I thought it was so cool.
All right, well, would you rather ride that train, or would you be like the little son of a gun with Tom Hanks? Would you rather do that or go to the Polar Express to see Santa?
You know what? This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I really don't like Polar Express.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You just have to ruin it for everybody. No, I'm kidding. I will say this right now. It's an okay film, but I wasn't like in love with it. Do I have to say it has its moments? Doesn't it feel good for a child? Does it bring the warmth to someone's heart? Mind you, when I saw it, I was 12 years old. It has its moments, but I'm saying I don't find it to be as like a cult classic for Christmas movies like everybody does. I think it's fine, but I've seen better.
it starts off nice and warm. It's got a nice warm ending. The middle is just like, what the fuck is going on?
It just see, and I don't want to rant about it because, like I said, it's supposed to be this heartwarming. We're going on the train and we're gonna go see Santa, yeah. But then it just gets it takes a turn, literally and figuratively. Like
we got it.
A chocolate. It goes it like what, and then it goes back to here's Santa. It really does. It's like it starts like chugga 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 chew chew, and then that's what it does. Then you're set back on the straight and narrow path.
And also the main song, which the little girl sings in it.
Yes.
Gets so stuck in my head, and we just had Christmas, and it was on the playlist, and it played every day, and every time I heard it, it was in my head for the rest of the day.
Ah! Oh, that song! It is what it is. It's a very special song, but yeah, go see the Polar Express if you haven't, man. Go see the Polar Express.
Some other big actors that were considered for the role that was eventually played by Matthew McConaughey: Alec Baldwin, Brad Pitt, Bill Paxton, Ralph Fiennes, and Aidan Quinn. All were considered for the lead role. And also, a little funny bit of trivia. So Sandra Bullock's character, Alan Rourke, is supposed to be a young law student, and obviously Matthew McConaughey is a very accomplished lawyer. In real life, Sandra Bullock is 5 years older than Matthew McConaughey.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to say this right now: we can't have Alec Baldwin in this movie because guns. Were there any guns in this movie, Desiree?
Well, yeah. I mean, Samuel Jackson gunned the shit out of the two guys, the two rednecks.
Okay, so, but yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it. That's okay. Again, it's another cast of what could have been.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny you mentioned To Kill a Mockingbird. John Grisham has actually gone on record saying To Kill a Mockingbird was a heavy influence on this novel.
How can you not? As soon as you said white man defending black man, my mind went back to Reagan Middle School and To Kill a Mockingbird. So, of course.
Right. You know what? Both of our last two movies are very similar in tone and the plot. So, yeah, very, very controversial. Very dramatic.
Well, you know what they say about controversy, Desirino?
It creates cash.
Bingo.
And it certainly did. Budget was $40 million for Time to Kill, and it made 152.
All right, as I'm looking at mine, you know what the budget was for? Well, let me take a look. Do we have the budget over here on friggin'? Okay, no, I don't see it for the. Well, all right, we'll do the box office on this one. You know what the box office was for just one of the guys? As I lean over, you know what the box office was?
I'm gonna take a wild guess at 15 million.
Close. Oh. You're off by 4 million. The box office was 11,528,900. All right. Now I'll give you the budget because this one has it for Speak here on the old wiki. What do you think the budget was for Speak?
It was a 1999 movie.
No, well, it was 2004.
Sorry, 2004.
Yeah.
So it was pre-Twilight. When did Panic Room come out? Was that before or after this? I think that was before.
Yeah.
So Kristen Stewart wasn't that big.
The Panic Room came out 3 years before that. No one.
I'm gonna go with 12.
No.
Did it make a lot more?
The budget for Speak?
Oh, I was saying box office 12. Budget. Budget. I'm gonna go less than $1 million.
No, it was actually 1 million on the dot.
Oh, jeez.
I can't find the budget on here, but yeah, no, it was $1 million for this. I didn't see no budget, but I didn't see. I'm sorry, box office, but yeah, the budget was $1 million for this. That's the one that they have, but I do not see as I was looking through the wiki. They had it for just one of the guys, but yeah, Speak. It was just like it was a $1 million budget, and really it was just like I said, it was mostly a scene in schools and back home and stuff. So like it was just like it was like a normal girl's day going to school, who's someone who's been in a traumatic and how they're acting and stuff. So it really wasn't that big as far as like budget wise. So I mean, you made with what you had.
Yeah. Well, I will say as well. Obviously, we can't really speak very much about Kevin Spacey anymore, but he he makes it very easy not to like him in this movie because he, of course, plays the DA who defends. Well, it's pretty much. What is it like? State versus Samuel Jackson's character, Carly Haley. So he's the prosecutor.
District attorney.
The DA.
Prosecutor.
And he's a bit of a prick.
You know what I got to say about that?
What you got to say about that?
Everything that guy said is bullshit. Thank you.
You know what? Matthew McConaughey would have nailed that line. Everything that guy just said was bullshit.
He absolutely would. And then he would add, all right.
All right, I'm going to take my seat now. That guy's full of bullshit.
Yes. Oh my God. If Matthew McConaughey was in My Cousin Vinny, oh, he just put the image. Get the fucking, the whole store got, hey, man, all right. The whole store got the flu. So it's either I wear this or I wear that leather jacket. Which I know you hate, Yana. Oh my God. Fucking rewrite My Cousin Vinny. Good Lord.
You know who Matthew McConaughey should have played?
Oh.
The lawyer with the lisp and the stutter.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
They didn't kill anybody. All right.
All right.
Every time I hear Matthew McConaughey say "all right," I think of this scene in South Park, which obviously this is Matthew McConaughey, and Stewie's just like, nobody likes you. Hey, all right, yeah, that's great, that's cool. You're a very unlikable actor. Yeah, but that's like, yeah, I know. Jesus. like
he's so good. Like,
he is very good. He seems to be in everything that wins an Oscar.
Well, can you blame him? I'll be honest with you. You know what they also talk about around Christmas time with him? You know what they always play in regards to Matthew McConaughey?
No.
The Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, because it's like a Christmas Carol type of thing, but he's going back to the days, and I think Michael Douglas was in it. Again, like back in the day where he gets to know his cool, but he's also breaking these girls' hearts. Have you ever seen Ghost of Girlfriend's Past?
No.
Oh my God, Matthew McConaughey plays all right, pretty much like a that's literally what he is. He's all right because he's the stud at it. But it's like he's broke all these girls' hearts. He's getting married, or his Breckin Meyer's in it from friggin' Road Trip and fucking Garfield and all that shit. So his brother's getting married, but he's like a douche. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very telling film of it's like, hey man, stop being a dick to girls.
Ah, yes, I'm looking now. Also, Lacey Chabert, Emma Stone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a damn good cast.
All right.
I've noticed though he likes to play lawyers.
Well, I'm gonna say right now, and I would just watch it just because. If Chad was ever in a movie, and I'm gonna say this, Chad, because he's gonna be on the show.
Played by Matthew McConaughey.
all he would have to say is, well, all right. Chad does say well a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see him do the yes, well. He does, and he has like his nose that sticks up. It looks like he's smelling his own fart, and it stinks. You know what I'm saying? He looks like
that's the lawyer pose. I'm better than you. All right.
Well, I'm just saying, he looks like. I'd hate to bring this name up because poor him, as he got released. He looks like William Regal when he sucked on a sour lemon.
Yeah,
you ever seen that?
That's our British, we're better than you look.
you just got
sunshine.
You're just gonna put it bluntly.
I will not be besmirched by you.
I will not be besmirched in my own courtroom.
I had this thing in my head. Matthew McConaughey was in a Leatherface movie, and he was in '94. He was in The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As Vilmer.
Oh God, who's that judge that you guys have in the UK that's always like very prim and proper? What the hell's his name? It's a dude.
I pay very little attention to judges.
Okay, hold. Oh, Judge Rinder. There he is. You remember Judge Rinder?
TV judge. Yeah, Judge Rinder's great.
Yeah, that guy makes me laugh. You will not behave like that in my courtroom. Do you understand? Like it's like Judge Judy, but funny.
He's so sassy.
Oh. Well, and then he gets like that face. Oh, don't get me started. I can watch Judge Rinder marathon like boom, like that. Yeah.
It's great when he loses his shit.
Yes, it is. Talking.
Yeah, because he's still so posh.
Freaking talk. Okay, never. As someone who's seen American court shows, like the Judge Judy's and the Judge Mathises and all these different judges, right? Never have I ever heard in my life just say or be quiet or talking in such a manner that just is so badass, but it's very snippy at the same time. And it's freaking great.
Yeah, the one I was thinking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Matthew McConaughey was also with Renee Zellweger. I think it was the third one, or maybe the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so those are our two movies. I have come up with a connection for 5 films or less.
Okay.
I did it pretty quickly too, to be fair. So let's begin with Kristen Stewart. She was, of course, in Twilight with Robert Pattinson.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Pattinson was in a movie called Map of the Stars with John Cusack in 2014. 2 years before that, John Cusack was in The Paperboy with Matthew McConaughey. All right. In 2012. So that is how we get from Kristen Stewart to Matthew McConaughey.
And a mirror.
So I think we're probably going to not spin the wheel, and we're probably going to do the same topic again, but next time we'll get Chad on too, because there's so many movies he's watched for the first time recently.
Okay.
Let me tell you, in the last 12 months, he's watched the Terminator trilogy for the first time, the Indiana Jones trilogy, the Rocky series.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be, if it was made before 2006, he hasn't seen it.
Am I gonna rage just because of the young in here?
We're gonna get the youngin in here. We're gonna need Matthew McConaughey next time when we get Chad in here. We will. All right.
All right. But no, am I really gonna rage? Is it movies like you and I have seen a bunch of times that he's never seen?
Oh, absolutely. We've probably seen them a dozen times over.
Oh, yeah. All right. All right.
He's expanding his knowledge of movies beyond the MCU.
Well, what type of movie? MCU. What types of movies has he seen that we haven't seen? That's before 2006. What type of movies has he seen?
Oh, I think that's a very, very, very smaller category. It's probably more going to be a case of a lot of movies that we've seen that he hasn't.
All right. Well, let's see how I can't wait for this. I'm looking forward to seeing what movies he chooses. So I gotta watch more movies that we've never seen before now for the next episode.
Yeah, we're gonna go for 2 more movies that we haven't seen before. Chad's probably gonna bring 2 as well, and we'll have a 3-way Netpicks.
Nice.
So thank you very much. You have been watching / listening to the Captain and Mike Logan. Thank you for netpicking and chilling with us. Don't forget to follow us on social media at NetpicksPod on Twitter. And of course, my other projects, they're very, very, very historic. Max Wrestling, you can follow at Max Wrestling UK. And of course, the Max Wrestling Facebook group for all our shows, which you can find at maxwrestling.net. And I'm also living on Twitter at Dazzybrand and the Captain512. And Mike, give them your monologue.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So you can follow me at MCL92 or at SM Show 1 on the evil Twitter machine. You can check out me doing my thing for LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships. Type in LFC Network, download it on your Roku, where you can stream the podcast. You can stream the new show called Mods and Bods, MODZ and BODZ, starring adult director Miles Long. Miles Long is going to be showing off the cars that he loves, the baddest cars in the world, with some hot guests, hence Mods and Bods, baby. And you can also check out the LFC Exposed reality show. You can check out the LFC events, where yours truly ring announced at the last LFC event back in October on Hallows Eve. And you can check me out at StephenMikeShow.com, LingerieFC.com. You can check me out this coming Monday on the Cheap Heat Productions podcast, hosted by Maurice Shortle. I'll be talking about LFC and my podcasting ways. And I also will be mentioning this podcast and Max Wrestling for the work that I've done. So Dazzy Dangerously, you got a nice little plug and pop on there, which I'll be sending you over the link when it's done. So yeah.
Good times.
Good times.
So come back to Netpicks and chill with us again and see what's next, this time with Mr. Chad Malcolm. We will see you very soon. All right.
Where do you get off having tits?